All right, hello and welcome back, everyone. I'm really glad to see you guys back for day 2 of the Accelerator Week program. Hopefully, you guys can hear me loud and clear. Our Accelerator team is back on the call as well. So, if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, they're monitoring the chat feed as we speak to make sure that everyone's okay and good and dandy. So this is day 2, August 20th of the Accelerator Week. So as you guys know, yesterday was an intense series of content and sessions, and today will not be any different. We'll have more content and programming for you. Yesterday, we tried to wait a little bit longer for people to pretty much catch up and try to get logged in on the call. But today, we're just going to get right back on track and keep it moving. And so as a reminder, last week again was orientation. Yesterday we had day 1 of the program. All right, so let's get started. So as stated before, the GSE Global Accelerator is a 3-month program to help you really scale your businesses and your ideas. And so with that said, as an entrepreneur, some of you are very far along in your companies who've been around for a couple of years, found traction, funding, and are doing pretty well. Some of you are in your infant stages. Some of you are freelancers and still trying to figure things out. Our Accelerator program, we try to accept companies or potentials and founders with potential at different stages of their businesses, because we do believe that you guys can learn and grow from each other as well. This is why the biggest value proposition of GSE, in addition to the program itself and the speakers that come on, is really you guys, right? I've been monitoring the WhatsApp community threads and the Facebook community threads. You guys are on fire, sharing insights and information, sharing resources, sharing advice, sharing even opportunities to meet up with each other. So it's really nice to see that. Please continue to do that, because like I said, you guys are pretty much a family network as it stands. And so to give you guys, again, a brief on who we are, my name, again, is Christine and Tim. I'm the host for the 2019 Accelerator program. For any alumni that's on the program, they already know this. Once you're part of the Accelerator community, you're pretty much a part of it for life. So even though, let's say next year your company progresses and you want access to the community, you still be able to come through the Accelerator program as well. So I wear several different hats, but at GSE, as one of the partners of the GSE company, I manage the accelerators and the summits. Einstein is a managing partner of the Africa Future Fund. He focuses on funding and resources for companies that he invests across the continent. And so these are 2 different ways for you guys to connect with us. Welcome you guys to the GSE Digital Accelerator. As a reminder, GSE is the largest accelerator program on the planet, with 1,000 companies a year across 90 countries doing the program. This year, we received companies from 82 different countries. So very, very diverse group. You guys are already aware of the fact that we work with a lot of different partners. And of course, we have 7 regions that we really try to promote in this program. Some of you are part of the Africa cohort, some of you are part of the Caribbean, but you guys are coming from different countries and different regions. Already told you guys from last week during the Accelerator program that the journey of GSE has not been easy. It definitely has been a crazy journey. From the first time during my pregnancy, when I learned how to code in 3 weeks, built my first site, and then started off in 2016 with the first cohort with 500 companies. Following year, transitioned into 700 companies, and then to 1,000 companies as of last year. This year as well, we've actually transitioned and have accepted 1,000 companies. Previous speakers and judges, which you'll be meeting with over the course of the entire week, have all different types of backgrounds and expertise, and all of them will come online. Some of them will have video talks, some of them will have PowerPoint talks. So each speaker has their expertise that they will be sharing with you during the course of the week. And of course, as we expanded, many of you who are part of the GSE community have demanded that we continue to engage you guys throughout the year. So now we have digital chapter meetups, all different topics are shared. And of course, I said this last week that we'll share with you opportunities for you to be a chapter leader if you're interested in leading a chapter in your community. So I also want to stress again that not only do we have online accelerator programs, we also run these summits around the world. Some of you are in these countries that we're coming to, so we're excited to meet you guys in person this year. And as we expand to other summits in different regions around the world, hopefully we can continue to have pretty much GSE, what I call family reunions around the world together, so we could catch up and meet up in person. Now, I want to transition now that you have an overview of GSC. Again, that was a very quick recap because last week you already had the orientation. I want to focus now on 2019 announcements and updates because, like I said, you guys are sending us a lot of inquiries and questions and comments about the program. So I just want to clarify a couple of things before we transition into the program. So wanted to again welcome all of you guys to the 4th annual GSE Digital Accelerator. Going back to the agenda and the calendar for the GSE Accelerator this week. Yesterday, I stated we had 3 intense sessions. One on how to create really powerful plans, ideation plans, business plan, and execution plans. Part 2 of that was really how to build an app from scratch with limited resources. And the 3rd session yesterday was really centered around how to legitimize your company, how to incorporate, how to really get access to business credit, opportunities for really getting perks and grants as a company. And then of course we had our guest speaker, Christy DePaul from Inc. magazine, who had pretty much a 45-minute session with all of you about how to articulate your message, how to really be powerful with your experiences when you express the heart of what your company does and what you do as an entrepreneur. Today is day 2 of the program. We have another 3 hours in store for you in terms of action-packed content and training. Just want to say again, my name is Christine and Tim. Some of you guys have started following me on Instagram and LinkedIn. Yes, that is where I drop a lot of my personal videos regarding content like this and other content. So I'm happy to be back again to do another series of training on the call with you guys today. Again, you could check me out at Christine and Tim. And today we're going to go over customer acquisition and growth hacking, which is something that's going to actually be broken up into 3 different parts today because it's a really intense session. We get a lot of excitement and engagement for this. And so it's going to be broken down into 3 different parts today. So hopefully you guys are ready for that here for all of it. So just want to make sure I reiterate that before we begin. So to share with you the agenda for what I'm going to go over today, I'm first going to talk about the planning phase, how to prepare for growth hacking, how to get yourself out there in terms of really building a company that's robust and ready for the traffic. So I'll talk about pipeline and goals, product optimization, and how to track and measure goals. Then we'll have a brief break, and then we'll transition to experimentation. This is where I share with you the secret sauce, right? How to optimize your conversion rate. I'll teach you content marketing, social media marketing, email marketing, how to get your site submitted to certain traffic websites, paid advertising, and of course, end with how to fake the hype, how to get people to really be engaged with what you're doing, all right? So let's start with step 1. So hopefully you guys are ready. So is everyone following me on the thread? Say yeah or nay. Is everyone ready for the planning phase? All right, good. So everyone's ready. All right. So let's get started then. So in terms of pipeline goals, let's start with first thing. So when it comes to building a strategy, right, you have to really think about your planning for creating a campaign around attracting customers. Start with, where are you even going to find those customers? And in today's day and age, there's almost a zillion different ways to acquire users, right, and customers. Back in the day, you had less channels. Now you have so many options. So you have, let me actually go through this, right? Because sometimes we underestimate how easy it is to find customers. And I know as an entrepreneur, it gets really hectic sometimes where we get overwhelmed and we get really sad and think that it's not easy to really build a company. But if you really think about it, there are so many different ways to find customers in this day and age. right? So I'm going to go over some of those basic qualities. So for example, Facebook, email, Twitter, Pinterest, YouTube, blogs, widgets, content marketing, Google SEO, Tumblr, press releases, right? There's so many different ways to find customers. So many, and some of them are paid, some of them are free, right? And then when you think about the pipeline channels, what do you do? Are you a content marketer where you create content, email marketing, right? Business development, affiliate programs, partnering with people, community building events, speaking engagements, social media, publicity, articles, trade shows, offline events, offline ads, right? There's so many different ways to find your customer, right? And the reason I mentioned this, like I speak at over 30 conferences a year. That's a huge pipeline source for customers for me, right? But I also go to do a lot of online webinars, another huge wavelength of customers for me. So it's really just showing you different ways to optimize your ecosystem and really think critically about how to find customers in a very, very unique way. So the first thing I want to start by saying is stop making excuses. There are a zillion ways to acquire users and customers for your business. And I wanted to start with that first in terms of getting you in the right mindset that anything is possible, right? Especially with today's tools. So now, once you can think critically of that, it's like, remember, it's very easy when you look at this, you're overwhelmed. Where do you even begin? Now you got to start to brainstorm with your team and really think about how do you plan out every single user, right? How do you plan out what you need from each customer? How do you think about what are your goals, right? So let's say you're going to fit for your campaign strategy, you're going to pick 5 different ways to target your customers. So you're going to try to target customers on Twitter, on Facebook, on your website through SEO, on Instagram, maybe PR, press releases, and through events, right? So if these are your channels, right? Twitter, okay, so what is your goal, right? So you're going to reach out to 10,000 people on Twitter via Messenger, via tweets and posts, and then you expect, let's say, 10,000 people once you engage them, right? If you reach out to 10,000 people, not all 10,000 is going to reach back out to you, right? And so your goal is to, out of 10,000 people, you're hoping that you get 2,500 signups. Does that make sense, right? You're hoping to, as you're reaching out to these people, at least 2,500 of them respond to your inquiry or your offering and want to engage with you, right? So that's one way. Let's say you want to do Facebook posts, right? So you're gonna do some ads, and you expect 1,000 people to view that ads. You're hoping at least 400 of them will sign up for your product. That's another way. Another thing too is, let's say you want to host events to engage people. So let's say you organize 5 meetups, for the year, and you expect to have at least 200 people to show up at each one of these meetups. So 1,000 people for the year, right? So you're hoping at least 500 of them will sign up for your product. But you see how every time you think of a way to target our audience and you think about, all right, this is what I'm going to do. This is the activity. This is how many people I expect to engage with it. And this is the goal that I expect to have. When you look at, if I go back again, go back to the previous slide, this might seem overwhelming, right? But when you go back now and really create a plan to optimize all the different options that you have and create a plan, that's when you start to see success. Does that make sense? And keep in mind, the first time that you do this, when you go from there's so many options in the world to find customers to this is how I now break down my strategy and my plan to reach my customers, you start to find that it's not as hard as you thought. And then you start to realize that, wow, let's say you do this for a period of 30 days, right? Let's say you were aiming to have 5,000 signups, but you only had 1,000. You failed. It's okay. What did you learn from that process to now next time get to 5,000? So me as a growth hacker, when I first got started, I didn't have the numbers that was generated, right? But optimized. Now I can literally target to a team every media channel what I'm going to get in conversion, because now I understand my target audience and now I understand how to convert and really add value, right? And so you need to get to the point that, like I said before, where the world is your oyster. There's so many ways to find customers, and you turn it into this. that you plan ahead, you think of pipelines, you think of goals, and you track it. So that way, because that something that's not tracked and measured cannot lead to success, right? If you don't know how to measure your goals, you don't know how to know whether you're progressing or not. Very, very important, right? And so now let's talk about product hacks, right? So I'm gonna start sharing some secrets with you, right? So a lot of times when you think about optimizing, I already talked about step one is having a pipeline and goal tracking. Step two is really make sure your product is worth it. So a lot of times we say, oh, we're so confused. We don't know why people don't want to engage with our product. Well, your product has to be accessible, right? When you do email blasts, how easy it is for someone to sign up. Do you have like if you see on the screen here, these are 5 different versions of buttons for people to click on as a call to action. What are you asking people to do? Try it now for free. Sign up, join the community, get started. A lot of times I see people put like a very a temporary link and hope that the person can find it. Make it easy for people to sign up for what you're doing, right? It got to be very, very accessible for people to know, yes, this is where to go, this is how to do it, right? And so make it easy. Your call to action, whether it's sign up for a newsletter, buy it now, try it now, make it easy for people to find your product, right? Another thing to think about is make it easy for people to refer what you're doing or really see value in what you're doing. So Dropbox, there are a lot of great case studies of companies that went viral by making it easier for the customer to scale your product without talking to anybody, right? When you make it easy for people to have viral about spread about your product, but also able to engage without you really being in an equation, it makes everything really optimized even well, right? So Airbnb kind of hacked Craigslist, right? Anytime you posted when Airbnb just got started, they didn't really have a lot of traction. So what they did is anytime you posted on Airbnb, it automatically posted on Craigslist. And so that's how they were able to create a viral spread. By the time Craigslist shut down the Airbnb postings, Airbnb became what it is today. So now it's already viral. So that's an example of you could piggyback on something that's already successful and hack it and just go on, right? Another thing to think about is PayPal. PayPal wasn't a popular mode of payment. So PayPal just pretty much worked with eBay sellers and say, hey, find another mode of payment. There's nothing you could lose by just using this alternative method. And sellers want to make money. So they say, okay, fine, I'll use PayPal as an additional mode of payment. And PayPal went viral overnight through eBay sellers. Now PayPal is everywhere. So these are 2 different examples of people making it very easy for you to use and share their product with other users, right? So are you making it easy for people to know exactly what to do to sign up for your product, engage with your product, and so forth, right? Next is, one thing I will say is, do you really optimize your website? So some of you guys have websites, some of you have Facebook pages, whatever you have as your landing page for people to understand your business, is it optimized? Can people find it? So right now, if you Google Global Startup Ecosystem, it's on page 1 of Google, right? Now keep in mind, other people use that terminology a lot, right? But for us to stay relevant, our SEO is if you Google global startup ecosystem, we're number 1, right? And so it's very, very important to think about what words are you using for people to find your site. How do you optimize, right? And so it's a really cool way to get people really engaged with what you're doing and that's your site. So one really good tool that any of you guys can use right now is SEO Analyzer. You put your website there and it will give you a 4-page report telling you, okay, this site is broken, this point is broken, this issue, there's this issue, and pretty much give you kind of like a diagnosis of what you need to do to optimize your website, right? And so one thing that we tell people, if you want to get traffic to your website, you can't always be selling. You got to add value. So we at GSE, we create a tons of value. We do free lists on top resources, top secrets and strategies, top tips, how to do certain things. I do webinars all the time and post it on my LinkedIn and my social media feeds, right? So when you add value, you can optimize your site and get more traffic. So really think about those 3 things when it comes to building and scaling your company, right? And so I'll take a pause right here as we transition to the break to kind of summarize again that when you get into growth hacking, aside from understanding the basics of growth hacking and finding customers, the step one is to think about your pipeline and your goals and think about where do I find my customers and how do I build a plan. Step two is really optimize your product. Is it easy for people to be able to sign up for your product, engage with you, apply? A lot of you, the reason why you applied to GSE is because we made the application very easy, right? We made it very simple for you to share with us your stories, your information, what you're doing, and for us to assess your application and think if you're a good fit for this program. So how easy is it for people to sign up for your product? And step three is to really think critically about how do you make sure that people can find a website that's optimized so they can engage with you. Okay, so now I'm going to take a pause because I know that was a lot of content already. The second half of this session, I'm going to go over some secrets and strategies with you and growth hacking tips that I learned along the way and hacking tips that I've done myself. Some really killer secrets and strategies that you're not going to want to miss.